this is one of the problems when you live in your own bubble. It doesn't matter if it's a suburban bubble or it's when you live in a paradigm. Paradigm being taking something for granted without even thinking about it. Where you, for example, in the 50s, you would equate the color red with danger because of the Red Scare. You lived in a paradigm where the color red, the word red, and socialism were like, without you even thinking about it, you would get a shock. Now today we live in the Black Scare, where, I mean, for fuck's sake, uh, I I had the first time I was here in the States. I was in a food line, and it was the evening, late afternoon, early evening-ish, and I was just walking through the food line, minding my own business, and I saw a black kid, or not kid, but a black young man, young adult, in baggy pants and with all the hallmarks of like on the friend, like it's hard for me to describe it without going into stereotypes because I have a shitty memory. But what is certain is my reaction, which was straight up fear. I immediately just feared for my life. And it was so overwhelming. I fear from I looked away and I walked and I had shivers and I had no control over that reaction. And I got in the car with my fiance and I got so angry because I realized that this is what Hollywood did to me. This is what corporate media did to me. This is what reading the newspapers did to me because, oh, we're just reporting the facts. We're not commenting. Well, comment, for fuck's sake. Can you please call out BS when BS is happening, when someone is saying, oh, black people are lazy? Can you please call BS? Can you please ask him to back it up with facts? And if he can't, can you please call him a lying sack of shit?
What happened is for over 50 years, 60, 70 years now, the admin did a lot of research, spent a lot of money, and the corporation spent a lot of money figuring out some early psychology and expanding on it to figure out how to break into people's schemas, how to set up their framing, how to do all of that in the best way using all the most modern media techniques. And so then it was radio and television. Now it's on. You'll see it's happening on online and other digital forms of media where you see that they're preying on every psychological advantage that they can gain. And it's only the most recent generations that we grew up in it. And so it's like navigating a minefield when you were there to watch where all the mines were laid and you saw the pattern. So you can avoid it most of the time. So most of the time, most people, the younger generations, don't click on random ad banners and they don't accidentally sign up for things that they're not supposed to sign up for.
But they still watch movies. They still watch the new Star Wars movie, where the black guy is comic relief, stumbling into realizations and stumbling into half victories. He couldn't just be a badass hero. What the?
I've been in similar situations where where I've had reactions to folks where I realize that it's happening, and when I do make that realization, it's both frustrating and hurtful, and it feels like it feels like a moment of weakness, and it's not what I expect better of myself, and so but I think it's that reflection that a lot of people are missing, and it's that introspection and that moment of clarity that is hard for a lot of people to process and for a lot of people to deal with because it's sometimes scary or sometimes hurtful to who you thought you were. And a lot of the times we like to think that we have total absolute control over everything that we do and say and how we think and how we arrive at our conclusions, but with things like that, with the relationship of black coolness and what's acceptably black cool, and the trying to absorb coolness from black, particularly in a variety of cultures, and but trying to leave the black where it is, So like, I mean, we're going all the way back to like minstrels and so on. So what you had, it's like we want to enjoy these manifestations of black culture, but we don't want to take any of the black with it.
Mm, yeah.
And especially not any of the like black empowerment. That's especially what we want to avoid. And so like when black figures become so cool or and they become powerful and then they speak their mind outside of what's a comfortable portrayal of like that, then it's often that they get cast aside or marginalized or uh, mistreated. And so it's with like you were talking about with how schemas are formed is like if every time if your only encounter with black culture is New Jack City or or straight out of Compton or whatever, and that's the only way that you're actually interacting with a particular culture, whether or if it's it could be Mexicans or Muslims or whichever group. It's almost unavoidable. You have to go out of your way. You have to work hard in order to change those schemas, to change those frames in which the lenses in which you view those, whichever group of people that you're talking about,
Yeah.
and that takes a lot of effort. People got jobs, they got hobbies, they got friends, they got a lot of other things that sound a lot more entertaining than restructuring the mental framework with which I view other people. So like a lot of people might have been when you were trying to break some framing around Trump and the Hitler analogy by just simply presenting relevant information about how there's actual differences and how those are significant, but how there are strong parallels and how those are relevant. That could be enough to set some people off just because they're not ready. And I mean, this is a great audience, so I presume most of this audience is very, very is more comfortable with that than the average folk, but I'm sure they all have people like that in their lives where even when they're confronted with something that's obviously uh, disassociated from the person's standard perspective, and that it seems as though there's no way that they couldn't see it themselves. That's how you're able not to see it. And one of the things I look at is going to play a little bit of internet memeage is there's the blue dress, the blue or white dress, and white and gold, blue and black or white and gold.
Hmm.
There are people to this day that say that they see it the way that they see it, and there's nothing you can do to change their mind. No matter, you can point all the evidence at, well, no, they did a color analysis, they've seen the actual dress, they did an interview with the person that wore it, all these things. It doesn't matter because when they look at it, they still see a white and gold dress because that's what their mind and their framework has constructed. So they can't see anything else. And so when we look at ourselves and our perspectives, whether it be Trump being Hitler or Hillary being evil or whatever it may be, or Bernie being a saint or whatever, wherever we find ourselves, if we take that perspective and step back a little bit and realize that sometimes we can fall prey to that too. We're not immune, and it's not about being smart or being dumb or anything like that. It's about being able to think that my schema, my setup isn't accurate, not just because of something I've done or not done, but because of the society that has helped build it around with me.
But you're unique